From Forex Traders Daily, this is your daily analysis with Ross Mullins, live from Richmond, Virginia.
Hello everyone, this is today's video analysis for July 8th, 2016. Today I'm going to be taking a look at all of the U.S. currency pairs in anticipation of today's NFP data and jobs news out of the U.S. But first, just a recap of one of the trade suggestions made yesterday. We talked about selling the euro dollar into resistance after some news and looking for some positive movement for the U.S. dollar. Yesterday we were looking to sell into the green shaded area that you see here on the chart, and I'll just put a black arrow there, right around the 1.1095, 11100 level. As you can see, the market did come up into that area. You can see yesterday's candle, the little red candle here, hitting that area into the green shade area and falling back down, currently sitting right around 1065. So we haven't seen a tremendous bounce off of that resistance, but the currency pair did find resistance there as expected. The U.S. dollar did find some strength and resistance into that green shaded area and has come back off of there. You should be protecting profit or maybe even closing profit before today's news. Now, while we're here on this currency pair, let's consider the options for the day today and what might happen at 8:30 a.m. Eastern U.S. time, about an hour from now. From the recording of this video, we could see, of course, expected volatility. If the jobs news is negative, if it is perceived as negative for the U.S. dollar, we would likely see this turn back higher again, likely breaking through the green shaded area and continuing to pressure back up again. Just as a reminder, right here where this red circle is, or red oval around this big blue candle, that's last month's NFP release, where we had a significant loss of jobs released last month in June. So you can see what happened. This is what we mean by potential volatility during these types of news events, where we can see aggressive movement. Now, I don't know if that'll happen today. We'll have to wait and see what the news does. But if it's negative, like it was last month, we could see a significant rally, break through the green zone, and a push back up again. However, if it's revised as positive or perceived as positive for this month's release, we could see just the opposite and the market turn back down. Of course, currently, we're finding some support right here at this blue shaded area, which is down around the 1.1 thousand level. Any push through that, 1.1 thousand, positive news for the U.S., will likely look for the market to challenge even lower down into the 109s. Likely 109.30 will be some support. We've seen that back here on the Brexit candle, or anything below that will look for further movement lower. So positive news for the U.S. on the jobs news today, we look for this to go down. Negative news, just like last month, we would look for it to rapidly turn around and go back up again for the euro dollar. Moving over here to the U.S. franc, just the opposite here on the franc, of course. On negative news for the U.S. on the NFP jobs news, we could see this turn around and go back down. That's this move up here. At the top of the black trend line, you see this big red candle right here towards the top of the black trend line. That red candle was the candle from last month's NFP release, where we had negative jobs news and it went down dramatically over the next several days. Well, if we get negative news today, again, we might expect this to turn around and go back down again. Any positive news, even a positive revision of last month's news, could see this break the current resistance and go higher. Let's zoom in a little bit here on the U.S. franc. And currently, of course, we're seeing resistance at the orange shaded area and have for the past 3 days, 1, 2, 3 days now, finding resistance right around 9,800, maybe just a touch above 98 into 98.10. Anything above that in positive news, we'd look for it to continue to pressure higher, likely getting back up 98.65.85, which is the purple shaded area, or significantly higher if it breaks through there. On negative news, we see resistance holding here at 9,800. Negative news will likely look for the turn back down towards the yellow zone, which is 97.35.55. But significant negative news, even a breakdown there, heads back lower, possibly all the way back down here towards the 96.90, 96.65 level, the blue zone, or lower. So watching positive and negative. Again, positive news sends us back up again. Negative news out of the U.S. sends the U.S. franc back down again. Let's take a look at the GBP USD, Great British Pound US Dollar. Yesterday we posted a notification, the early morning notification for members, posted a short or sell opportunity here for the pound dollar. Was the first trade I've taken really since the Brexit news. It rallied into resistance and fell off of it. So hopefully you were able to take advantage of that. Now, here we are coming back up again. I think it's it's better to take it down to the 4-hour time frame and take a look at what's been happening over the past few days. The blue shaded area, that's 1.3025, 1.3000, has held as resistance, and there's yesterday's move falling off of there and back down to the orange shaded area. Again, that was the profit from yesterday. Again, if we get positive news for the U.S., that's something else that I would consider happening. Finding resistance again here at 3,000, sending it back down to the orange zone, which is our current support, and anything underneath there, 2875, which is the bottom of the orange zone, we could look for the continuation lower in the downtrend for the GBP USD. Now, negative news for the US probably looks for this to take a little bit of a bump higher, and I wouldn't be surprised to see it break through the 3,000 level, through that blue shaded area, and even tackling back up here 3150, which is the bottom of the green shaded area. So negative news out of the US sends this back up again towards possibly the green shaded area. Positive sentiment on the NFP data would likely see this turn back lower, breaking through the support lows, the orange shaded area, and continuation of the downtrend for the GBP USD. Moving on over to the USDCAD. This one's a little bit tricky because we have both U.S. jobs news and Canadian employment data as well coming out at the very same time at 8:30 Eastern U.S. time. So we definitely need to show a little bit of caution on this pair. However, over the past day or so, we have seen a sell-off on oil. The oil has pushed through its support, and we've looked at that in the live daily trade room several times this week. But oil did finally push through its support levels. Just a quick peek at that. Let's take a quick peek over here. There was support here. This is the daily time frame. Look at these three black X's. Support, support, support. Today, we're underneath there. First time we've opened and closed, or at least opened underneath those last supports there. So take note of that. Even over here on the U.S. oil chart, we are underneath these last three supports where the three black X's are. So that's significant. If it continues to fall on oil prices, that would have a negative impact on the USCAD or on the Canadian dollar, and we'd look for this to go higher. Now again, we do have the jobs news today. So the falling oil prices, we see the Canadian dollar going up, but we have the jobs news. Negative news for the U.S. Negative news for the U.S. likely looks for this to go back down, breaking back underneath 3,000, heading back down towards the orange shaded area or lower. Positive news for the U.S. sends us back higher. But again, the dynamic is we have the Canadian jobs news as well. Positive Canadian news sends us back down. Negative Canadian news sends us back up. So lots of things happening here. You need to really be on your toes to trade the USCAD today with U.S. news, Canadian news, and the falling oil prices. Probably really need to be on your toes if you're going to trade the USCAD today. Taking a move over to the U.S. yen, we have seen it continue to fall back down, challenging towards the last lows. The last historic low that we've seen here for the U.S. yen, going all the way back to multiple years, is the Brexit candle that we see right here, spiking down here in towards the 9900 level. 99.0, I should say. Market's been falling underneath support. Let's go ahead and take it down to the 4-hour time frame. Market has been falling. We've pushed through that little blue shaded area, which was right around 100.65. We've pushed through there and now sagging underneath there into the 100.40 level. Continued negative sentiment for the U.S. would likely see this continue to pressure lower and challenge back to the historic support low down here at the orange shaded area. So negative news for the U.S. sends us back down towards the 99.0 level. Any positive news? We may see this turn around and start the rally once again for the yen. So again, positive or negative, we know what to look for. Any continuation of the downside, any negative sentiment for the U.S. dollar, probably will see the challenge of the last Brexit support low that we've seen towards 99.0 for the U.S. yen. Moving on over to the AUD/USD, we've kind of been stuck in consolidation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days or so. Let's take this black, or actually, let me take the blue box here and bring it over here. And you can see inside the blue box on the right-hand side, we can see that the market has been kind of stuck in consolidation for the past few days. Now, let's talk about the news today. Positive U.S. jobs. Positive U.S. jobs would likely see this find resistance, break through support, and go lower. So we would expect it to break the orange shaded area, bottom of the blue box, and go lower. That would be somewhere right around the 74.50 level on positive U.S. news. Negative U.S. news would likely send this back higher, breaking through the black box, or blue box, the pink shaded area into the 75.70 levels, the top, and likely challenging at least back up here to the green shaded area. So we can see the consolidation. Let's wait for the news to see what happens, positive or negative. Positive again for the U.S. sends this lower, negative for the U.S. sends this back up again. For the Australian dollar 4-hour time frame, you can again see what's been happening over the past few days, bouncing around in here, falling off 75.35, which is the pink shaded area, 75.35, bottom of that zone, down to 74.75, now coming right back up. Again, watching for positive or negative news out of the U.S. to determine the next direction for this currency pair on the Australian dollar. And lastly, the NZD/USD, we're challenging resistance highs. Take a look at what's happening here. Yesterday, we were looking at resistance here into the green shaded area. It was a very short-lived resistance yesterday, and now we're pressuring back higher again. The last resistance high, and let's just take it right before the Brexit candle, the last high on the chart is 72.90. And so let's bring this down a little bit. Let's bring the pink shaded area down to that 72.90 level. Let's see if I can get it selected. Bring it down to 72.90. So that is our current resistance high, 72.90, last high before the Brexit. So as we approach it, we're at 75 right now. As we approach it, we would suspect that there could be resistance, double top resistance into the 72.90 level. So keep an eye on that. Again, positive news for the U.S. would give us a boost for that. It would likely find resistance and start falling back down on positive jobs news for the U.S. Negative jobs news, we might see the breakout and a new high being made. So consider this. We're at a significant resistance high. I don't think this is a great time to go long. That would be the least thing that I would say. Not a great time to go long, because last time we were here, even on the Brexit, before the Brexit news, we found resistance. So not a great time to go buying into resistance. We know 72.90, 7300 is resistance, so you don't want to buy underneath it. Think of it as a ceiling, a price ceiling. Buying underneath there, buying at a higher price, just never makes sense. If you're going to buy it, you want it to go down or break through that price ceiling. It will need to break through 7300 before you would look to go long. And that's going to take some negative data out of the U.S. for that to happen. Positive news, again, out of the U.S. at 8:30 Eastern, would likely send this back lower again, finding resistance at the double top, and maybe begin the reversal here for the New Zealand dollar. And I would point to an example here, right here with these last two little green circles here. You see the double top there and the reversal that happened there. I don't know if that's going to happen now, but isn't it similar to the price action that we've seen? This area down here where the two green circles are, little green circles, double top, reversal, break through the support, and continuation lower. So here we are again, double top potential. Could push down towards the orange zone, which is 69.80. The support here underneath there looks for further reversal for the New Zealand dollar. So consider this price action as a clue of potential price action for the New Zealand dollar over the next few days.
From Forex Traders Daily, this has been your daily analysis with Ross Mullins. If you would like to get Ross's analysis on all the currency pairs he's watching and all the trades he takes today, join him in his live trade room by clicking on the link below. Please leave any comments you have about today's video in the comments section below.